Hello, leaders, and welcome to Run to Your Leadership Challenges. This is Paul Grau Jr., and this is the show that equips team leaders to lead through the challenges they face every day. So today we're going to continue the talk about leadership priorities and how you can determine exactly what the most urgent thing is on your long list of things to do. And today we're going to pick up where we left off and go beyond what's urgent. What's the most urgent? Today we're going to talk about a couple of different things to really narrow down what's your true priority. Before I begin, I just want to remind you about this free offer to join the current online community for leaders. It's 42 days you're going to get for free. And after that, you can decide whether you want to stay in the group or leave. It's totally up to you. No strings attached, no pressure at all. You can cancel at any time. So if you're interested in that, check out the link in today's show notes, or if you're listening to an Alexa or Google or anything like that, you can download the podcast app or SoundCloud or Spotify or anything like that and just search for Run to Your Leadership Challenges and subscribe there, and you'll be able to see all of the show notes. Okay, so let's talk about leadership priorities again. Now, yesterday, like I said, we left off with the question about how you can narrow down what your top priority is. And the question was, what do you have to do today that nobody else can do that will directly impact you or me and or the company the greatest? So what can only you do? Nobody else can do that. It has to be you, 100%. So have you thought about that? Have you narrowed it down? If so, it's time to move along to the second part. And I'm going to give you two more questions to ask yourself today. And this is going to help you narrow down the priorities that you may have come up with yesterday. And the two questions are the second and third R's in John C. Maxwell's 3 R's to figuring out what your priorities are. And this comes directly out of his book, The 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership, and the chapter, The Law of Priorities. So the first R stood for what is required. Now, that was covered with yesterday's question. The second R stands for return, as in the question that John gives us, what gives me the greatest return? Now, as mentioned yesterday, again, this is something that's going to narrow it down, but you have to get in that mindset of what gives you the greatest return. So according to your job or your company, what task on that list is going to get you the biggest return? So now you know exactly what you have to do and only you have to do that is going to have the greatest impact on you or the company. And now you know what's going to give you the best return. So you can look at whatever you narrowed down yesterday. If you have more than one, ask yourself, what's going to give you the best return? Now, John says the best way to figure this out is to ask yourself if the task is keeping you in your zone of genius, or he calls it, is it keeping you in the area where you can focus on your strengths? Because let's face it, as leaders, it's ultimately important that we stay working around our strengths, because we need to surround ourselves with people who complement us. And a part of that complementary trait that they should have is people we need to be around us that pick up where we're weak, and that's their strengths. Okay, so that brings us to the third R and the third question. And the third R is for reward, as in what brings me the greatest reward. Now, John refers to this primarily as personal satisfaction, and that may or may not apply to you depending on your job, because let's face it, many of you out there, and it could be, I might be talking directly to you, you may not like your job, and there might not be a whole lot of things in your job that bring you rewards. But think of this as monetary, promotion, good for the company, productivity, good for the team. You could fill in what brings you the greatest reward of, hey, what gives you that satisfaction? What really Do you love doing a part of your job? And I know a lot of you, the first response is going to be, I don't love anything about my job. And, I would really recommend that you start working on an exit plan and get in a job that you do like, because life's too short to be stuck in a job that you hate. But let's face it, there we all have a certain aspect of the job that gives us a reward that we love doing, that satisfies us. So that's the third of the questions that of the three R's that John covers. So to recap, yesterday's question was, what is it that only I can do that's going to impact me and or the company the most? And today we talked about the second and third R's. We talked about what's the greatest return. So what is going to um, allow me to stay in my around my strengths, and finally, what's going to give me the most reward. So that's it for today. We're going to pick up on a few more things tomorrow, and we're going to dive in and keep on this topic of priorities, because tomorrow we're going to get a little bit deeper, and I think you're going to enjoy that. So, as a final reminder, don't forget to click on the link in the show notes, or you can directly email me at paul@clcteam.com to get the 42-day free trial in a current online community for leaders. Hey, hope you have a great rest of your day. And until tomorrow, run to your challenges. We'll see you.